Aaron reveals the Rekieta kids were often hungry and he would cook them SpaghettiOs. Now, this is actually where I think I became like, actually, no, at this point I was still not talking about Nick, but I learned about this later on. And if anyone says that Nick didn't neglect his kids or Nick was a good father, why do you have a strange man in your house cooking them food? Because you're too coked out to provide for your children. I'm sorry, that is neglect, and neglect is abuse. That's the reality. Kids and animals cannot defend themselves. I mean, if it's like a wild animal, of course, whatever. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like pets. They're the most vulnerable people in our society. Not the animals, obviously, but the children. And I'm sorry, if you want to be a degenerate, that's fine. I actually don't have a problem with that. Just don't be a degenerate when you have responsibilities. When you decide to have children, and unless you are graped, you are deciding to have children either by your bad decisions of forgetting to wrap it or for getting drunk that night and thus not wrapping it. When you have children, they don't consent to be born. You have to look after them until they can leave the nest. It's your responsibility. And if you're derelict in those duties, you are a bad father. You are a negligent father. You're an abusive father. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have great kids. Kids are very resilient. They can get through a lot. And maybe you have a bad year or something, but you recover from it. That happens. I understand that. But know that you have this responsibility. And I think that's what most people got really angry about, was the situation with the kids. So hearing these stories about SpaghettiOs is really heartbreaking, honestly, because kids know when something's up in a house. If you're so hungry that you have to go knock, 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 mummy, daddy, can we have some fucking food? Well, they're not going to say that, obviously. Well, I don't know. And then you open the door and someone that isn't your father, someone that isn't your mother answers the door. You know that something isn't right here. It's not a natural situation. It's just, maybe they can't process it completely, but they understand that something is amiss. The Minnesota King sleeps 4 is not okay if you have kids. If you want to be degenerate, don't have kids, or wait till your kids have grown up. And furthermore, the kids in this house range from I think it's 6 to 16. So there's no way that the elder kids don't know what's up, and they're eventually going to tell the younger kids and explain it in detail. And even the younger kids are going to know something is wrong, because why is mummy and daddy not spending as much time together? Now, depending on how much you believe Aaron, it makes this story much worse, because Aaron will say stories like Nick would come up to him screaming because I think it was Kayla, right? Kayla was crying or something, and Nick would this is Aaron's story, so it's it's fully if you believe Aaron or not, okay? But he would say that that Nick would come up to him and yell at him saying, "Go fix her. Go fix her," because only Aaron could stop her from crying for some reason. That's not a situation that kids can thrive in. I'm sorry. Doesn't mean you can't repair the bonds, but there's always going to be this divide between you now because of these actions. Your actions. You're responsible for everything that happens at the house as a parent.